in the Times today, there's a phrase we haven't seen before, which is long Boris, okay? Now, the idea of long Boris is something bad that affects you beyond the point at which it's cleared your system. So here's the Times, and yeah, if you look inside, they've got some great coverage, actually, of the 3 by-elections that are coming. So I'm going to show you that in just a tick. But yeah, if you open the Times today, you see this phrase. So it's a bit like long COVID, isn't it? It's the idea that there's an overhang from the Boris Johnson administration. Let's look at the by-elections. Let's look at the ones they've had since Boris Johnson became Prime Minister in 2019. And you can see the pattern here. Labour tend to hold Labour seats and the Conservatives tend to lose their seats. North Shropshire, of course, was Owen Paterson, where there was a scandal. Been all kinds of ups and downs. Interestingly, the Conservatives in Hartlepool amazingly took a Labour seat. So that was a rare moment. But basically, they have struggled in by-elections, and the Lib Dems are really biting away in the south and southwest. You remember the pornography MP, the guy who said he was looking at tractors, who had to resign. So that went Lib Dem, that went Lib Dem. Now we've got 3. They've got 3 that they have to defend. Let's see what the chances are. So the 3 seats start with the famous one, which is the Boris Johnson seat in Uxbridge. He's gone. He's left the House of Commons now. And he got more than half the vote last time they voted for him. In fact, this seat, although it's changed boundaries, essentially even Blair didn't get it in the 90s. So it's a strong old Conservative seat, 7.5 percentage point swing needed by Labour. If they take that seat, it's a real feather in Sir Keir Starmer's cap. The next one to look at is, let's see, this is Nigel Adams we're going to look at. And his seat is Selby and Ainsley. Now, he's a big ally of Boris Johnson. OK, so when Johnson went, he said, that's it, I'm out. Now, here you have a really strange seat, because it did go to Labour in the Blair years. It was very heavily Tory in the Thatcher years, and it then came back to being very heavily Tory again. No boundary changes. This is all just ebb and flow of politics. So now he had, Nigel Adams, 60% of the vote. If Labour, listen out for this one the day after the by-election, because Labour need an 18% swing. Somerton and Frome, really not Labour territory at all. There was a scandal involving this guy, Neil Warburton. He had to step down. The Conservatives, Neil Warburton got 55% of the vote, so a good, strong victory, with the Lib Dems miles behind. But this was all part of the coalition crunch that the Lib Dems had, and they may come back strongly here. So 14.8% swing. If they win in Somerton and Frome, the Lib Dems can say they're really back as the third party in England and Wales. Now, long Boris, what's it all about? It's the idea that somehow the Conservatives are still suffering in the way that long COVID makes a person suffer, suffering for his premiership.